Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 14th episode of the ArtaCast. A new week. Where the DLC Melbourne was on the weekend, where a lot of stuff was happening, but we will talk about that later. We both were on set championships as well. And I think the meta with the DLC Melbourne goes in a, you could say, interesting direction, although it still was a bit of a power demonstration of red blue, unfortunately. There were so many red blues in top 8, I think, like 4 or 5. And I think we have no real data of what exactly the metagame was, but if you see the top list, then it was just dominating the whole tournament. What's a bit sad because we both dislike red blue players and think they deserve no honor. But still, you can play the deck if you don't need honor. So first of all, Eddie, how was your week? How was your weekend? Did you play a set championship?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I played another one. Again, threw together another random deck that I'll talk little bit about in a while. But yeah, a really nice experience. Had a good fun time. It was one of the stores closest to me. So there's a few stores around nearby, but this one is really close. It's called Mad for Miniatures, and I really like it. It's there's a couple of stores where the owners also really invested in the game, and they play a lot, and you can really tell. It's just a way nicer environment for the game when people are bought in. And so, yeah, I had a really, really great time. So, yeah, shout out to them. Really, really lovely place to be. But aside from that, I came home and started watching Melbourne, and that was cool as well. But, like you say, it's a shame that people are talking about it for the wrong reasons, which I'm sure you'll want to speak on a little bit as well.
Yeah, just short from me, I was also on a set championship, and then I won again. It's crazy. Set 2 set championships, 2 wins. Was a great red purple seems for me still to be just a great deck for set championships. It's great to outplay people and punishing for a bit for people that are not that experienced to playing against it. So has tools against everything. That's what you really need in set championships, I think. And yeah, that was just short. I played the set list, same list as last week. Didn't see a reason to change something. And
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
yeah. So, but yeah, as you said, I just want to make. I just want to get a topic out of the way, just to because I usually don't want to talk about it too much, because the internet is full of this. There was happening something in the tournament in Melbourne. LD and me we will both say a few sentences about it, because I think actually I usually, just for me personally, I usually don't want to talk about it too much because I think the internet is talking about it too much, and there's no need to talk that much. I still think if we are content creators, every content creator has a bit of a responsibility for me to have an opinion on this and say his opinion on this, that something like this hopefully will never happen again. So for me, I don't know if you listen to this, if you just saw it. There was a game in the top 8 where the French player Reclam played against Jesse from Australia, and there was a weird interaction where Jesse played Goat while having an exerted broom on the board, wrote his lore from the Goat, and after that he wanted to brandish his broom. Yeah, Reclam intervened and said that's not possible anymore. You said it's you didn't call it when you wrote the lore from the god. That's actually a little bit of stupid because everyone does that like that way, and Reclam also already he knows that, and he just wanted to rule shark. I think, yeah, it's nothing. I don't want to analyze it too much. For me, it's just clear it was rule sharking. If you don't know what rule sharking is, it's just to want to abuse rules. I think not to want to abuse rules. You want to abuse someone not knowing things with rules that actually in this situation was even weirder because it was not even played wrong. But nevertheless, I think it's very. I just want to point out that I judge this very much what Reclam did there, and usually I want, of course, an environment where we don't have to be afraid of such things happening. There was also additionally that was a bit sad, really, yeah, a mistake by a judge, because you can't say in another way. I don't want to blame a judge or something. That's not what I want to do. And what I also don't want to do is, yeah, I still think it's very. I judge it really much, but it's not my goal here to blame Reclam or something. It's just for me. So something like this shouldn't happen. It's a hobby for us, and you should just, for me personally, be aware. If you do something like this, you lose a lot, if not completely all respect from me, because I don't want to have such people around me. That's the only thing I want to say. Last thing, I still think I'm a bit of a naive person, I know that, but if Reclam says publicly how he regrets it, and he's saying sorry, and additionally says he will never do it again, this will never happen again, we should maybe forgive him at some point, but that's not for now. I think we are all a bit mad. But just be aware that don't leave your, like a Jedi would say, don't relieve your anger too much. It's still a game, and it's very rude what he did, and we should judge it. But we should go on. I always think it's karma. You will get karma back if you do evil things. I think evil if you do bad things. I think that's just for me, and that's, I think, the last words I want to say about this topic. Yeah. And you, LD?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said makes sense. I think, just to speak on the topic for a couple of minutes, rule sharking is a particularly dangerous and bad feeling form of cheating. Now, whether or not you call it cheating is, I put it under the umbrella of cheating, but like I realize for some people draw a distinction between rule sharking, because actually the important distinction with rule sharking is that it's not cheating. It's being so by the book that it's like you technically remain in the right. So the process of asking a judge a question, that sort of thing, clarifying rules with a judge is not just something that's fine. It's actually encouraged, right? It's good practice in a TCG to run things by judges. The problem comes in when it's something that you know is understood and there's a precedent set for something. So earlier in this game, the player Jesse performed the exact same actions in the exact same order. People call it a shortcut, just not immediately saying I'm going to banish my broom, but the option's still there while you quickly jot down your lore from the goat. I wouldn't even call it a shortcut. You play the goat with a broom in play. You have some things to do, right? You have to make a decision about banishing it. You have to write down your lore.
It's just stupid, yeah.
Who's shortcutting anything? Like that's so it's really clean cut to say, look, this was like there was an opportunity taken there to basically see if you could do a bit of angle shooting, see if like you could get the rules enforced in a certain way that would lead to the outcome that favoured Reclam. Because as we know, that the other thing maybe some people have missed is like it's a big deal to have that broom exerted when they had a
He would
shark
have
in
lost.
play.
He would have lost. Yeah,
Yeah. It's the whole game. So if you're wondering why people are so heated, it's because somebody secured a world's invite and somebody else was denied their chance at one by this what looks like a really minor thing on the surface, but it's absolutely not. It completely changed the outcome of the tournament. But I mean, the actual thing I just want to say on the topic as a whole is, if you play TCGs for long enough, these opportunities will present themselves to you. You will find yourself in a spot where you could either your opponent maybe get something wrong and it's like it's in your favor to keep ignoring it, and like I don't know. So a scenario from this weekend, a perfect example, came up at my store championships. My opponent thought that my damaged beast had 7 strength in their turn, and they made a trade and put their thing in a discard. And so I said, no, it doesn't die. It's not big. It's not big on your turn, only in mine. Like that, you could have that happen, and then I think that you might think of yourself like, I wouldn't cheat, right? Like I'm not a player who would cheat. But when that opportunity comes up, it doesn't feel like sometimes it's almost like a passive thing. Like, is it cheating to just say nothing?
yeah. But
Yes, it
that's a
is. Yes,
complete
it is if your
different.
opponent. I
Ah,
know,
but
I know.
it's a
I,
complete different
I'm
story in my opinion. If you
no, no,
don't
no.
say, yeah,
It
yeah.
is. No, it is. It is a completely different story. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to draw parallels between that and the situation in Melbourne.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no
trying to.
problem.
I'm just trying to set up my point, which is that most of these things happen in moments of opportunity, and the only way we stop it is if, when you yourself, to every player listening, find yourself in those moments of opportunity, that you have the conviction to just do the right thing. Yeah, it only stops if people do that. And nobody wants to be playing in an environment where you're worried about getting rules sharked. Nobody wants these things to happen. When it happens to you, it feels really bad. So yeah, we all have a responsibility to not do those things. But I think it should serve as an example of just, so there will come times when you're playing for really high stakes. You cannot let your sort of commitment to the integrity of the game slip at that point, because it's real bad for everyone. So I think, if anything, there's a few good. There's potential for good to come of this. Lots of it's a horrible situation. I hope there's some resolution for Jesse, but I hope also that it showcases why an official judge program is really long overdue. Like, it's not something you can keep delaying. We need it right away. The game desperately needs it, and for all players to see this sort of what rule sharking looks like in action, so that they can recognize it both in their opponents and potentially in themselves as well. So maybe it becomes a good learning point, which is my hope. But yeah, I just hope it's a horrible set of circumstances for Jesse, and I just hope that there is some positive outcome down the line.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's why I thought it's important that the people, the community, judges this, that it's for other people. How can I say, less appealing to do for other bad players, less appealing to do such things. And what I just wanted to point out, why I think it's so different from your story, because your story is right in this moment. It's it happens, and you have to decide if it's about a big prize money or something in seconds, if you do that or not. But this situation was planned. You can't do it. You can't do it without planning. You can't say it in that moment. Whoa, you have a plan. Reklam needed to have a plan that he wants to do that now. He did it on purpose. At least that's how I would see it. It was not that he played the goat and now I could say. So he thought about it probably a turn earlier, I would assume. But it's not. Yeah, it's only something I can assume. But that makes it for me a lot worse. But it's pointless to talk about the moralic things. It's bad. It's bad in either way. Should not get away probably with it, and probably it would have been as I'm honestly Sure, even for Reclam, if he gets disqualified, because it would have been better. Because I don't want to see the Twitch chat in the Worlds when Reclam plays against his opponent. That won't that I don't want to see that Twitch chat. What's happening there? And yeah, usually we don't want this in the community, of course, because even I think even if someone does really bad things, there are some insults that go too far in my opinion, that doesn't belong in a card game, no matter what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, it's really. Again, I know we don't want to spend too much time on it, but I completely get what you're saying. And when you play paper-based TCGs that rely on in-person judges, they rely on the player's integrity to uphold the rules. Like without that, everything collapses. So it is kind of like our whole game is propped up on people's integrity within the game and their commitment to upholding the rules and not sort of sharking people or otherwise cheating in any way. So when a high-profile incident of cheating happens, people have lots of bottled up bad feelings that get channeled towards that person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like, so I get what you're saying. Like, it's like everything, everything everybody thinks about the concept of cheating in TCGs gets, which is so much because it completely ruins the hobby that we love and undermines it and leads to situations where deserving players are robbed of opportunities that they should have. Yeah, it gets channeled all into one person, and like I'm not gonna say too much more, but like I see what you're saying basically, and just there comes a point where like it can go too far. The witch hunting can go too far. The community understands and knows, and it has mostly been said. I'm not saying in any way that like you just let rule sharking slide, but the conversation has been had now, and people know the situation, and hopefully, people in positions of power will do the right thing.
Of course, yeah. I still think it's like my father said always, and I still believe that's true. That's at some point. That's why I think we don't need to spend too much. You get over like the karma thing. You get always back what you do. I still believe that's true in life. I mean, not everything is fair in life, but if you do many bad things, you will get your punishment for all alone. You don't need to blame that. But yeah, I think we talked about it a lot. What else? We had still a very exciting tournament with a lot of red blue, and but we had not only red blue. We had a great showing of Jesse. Sadly, the person that got knocked out by this rule sharking moment, because I'm still pretty sure he would have won that game, but yeah, we talked about it. With a really I like the list a lot, with a really I would say standard green purple list on top 8.
Yeah.
I rode with him a lot before the tournament, and he asked me some things, and I agreed with him a lot. I also reviewed in my Metafy the game between him and Reclam, because I still think it was an interesting match. Because it's very tricky to play against the shark, and you need to play against it correctly to stand a chance. And the game, especially the first game, showcased it really much how you play against the shark. I still think it's no blame or something. He quested one turn too early, in my opinion, and that's just showcasing how hard it is to play against the shark. And but he had, other than that, he played phenomenal, and I was very proud of him, because I think he's not playing competitively for that long. I think, and it was great. I like his list a lot. It's very, very close to how I would play it right now. There's nothing too special. The most special thing is probably the 2 Lyles that are still in here. But he said he won some games against Purple Steel because of the Lyles, which makes a lot of sense to me. So yeah, what do you think about the list?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like you say, it's pretty standard at this point. I think I would want to be playing some number of Lyles at the moment if I was still trying to make green purple work this set. Yeah, it looks like somewhere between. It's almost like a meeting point of a bunch of the successful builds we've seen recently. So yeah, often it was 4 genies, 2 rabbits. This goes up to 3, and just
No
deals with
Clarabelle.
having not a Clarabelle build. It's not a Shift Pegasus build like Mo played. So it's somewhere in between, and I think really you are getting the best of all worlds there. It looks certainly it looks like the kind of deck that would do really well into red blue.
Yeah.
You're really happy to have things like Sir Hiss in those matchups, especially when the red blue decks have stopped playing ice blocks and
Big
ceasing,
Sisu. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about with you, because I think I know you are probably not that high on green purple right now. I don't know. And I was not that much, to be fair, either. But the non-CISO lists, I don't want to say feel free, but I feel really favored. Because they slam at Shark. You slam your board with stuff. So it's like set 3. They need to be prepped that board.
Yep.
And then the Shark is gone. You play another characters. The only thing that's really annoying is how fast the Sharks can end the game. So if they have 2 Sharks and they chain this, develop your brain and visions stuff, that's really, really, really scary sometimes how fast they can end with that. But other than that, I tested it a lot now, and I really like that matchup in favor for green purple. And I don't know. Yeah, maybe I know I have a green purple brain, but I don't know how you can come to the idea of cutting this incredibly busted Sisu. But to be fair, yeah, we will talk about the list later. To be fair, Sisu is bad in the mirror, and that's what I probably wanted to improve. And yeah, the uninkable 8-cost Sisu really hurts in the mirror, I could assume. And
yeah, imagine so.
That's probably the jumping point there. Yeah.
Yeah, I should say, by the way, I'm not low on green purple in general. I think it's still a super playable deck, and it's still up there in the conversation for those top tier places. I just can't play it locally. The environment local to me
Okay.
for set championships is really hostile. It's just I can win like 2 or 3 matches across the day against some of these like fast interactivity steel piles. And I actually got very good at the traditional steel soul matchup with green purple and felt very confident into that. But no, like something close to half the field locally is just like diggy hole variants and traditional steel song, and I just can't beat them all day long. It just it's a crazy curve out fest. It just my stuff is just not as powerful. They'll just play something big, and I maybe don't have a crab or something.
Yeah, I think it's just a very simple fact that everything they play quest for 2 and everything we play quest for 1. So
exactly.
nearly, and that's the problem just for the matchup. So if we slam our deck with a bunch of 2 questers, the matchup would just be even, I think.
Yeah. And you try to grind. You can try to grind them out of resources, which you can do. But when loads of your stuff has 3 strength, you get to this point where you must challenge with it, but you also can't leave any 3 strength character exerted because they'll just ship in a Daisy or a Lawrence or anything that has 4 willpower and then draw 3 off Rapunzel. So to me, set championships. We'll talk a little bit about maybe what I played at set championships in a moment, but it's just like a Rapunzel trap fest. It's just who can trap each other into giving up good Rapunzels first. It's not the most fun I've had with the game, that's for sure. But in that environment, I probably could make green purple work, but I just elected not to and just try some different stuff instead. But I'm still really high on the deck. Like if we were going to play a DLC today, I'd play green purple. That's for sure. You can, we worked out at the start of this set pretty well how to win the red blue matchup, and I think builds like DKPs are even better of a matchup for us. So I definitely still run it at a high competitive event, but just locally, it's not really something for me at the moment.
Misunderstood it, yeah. Going forward, I think we want to talk about DKP's list. I tell you my initial reaction when I saw that list going to day 2, and I'm a bad player, honestly, probably, because I thought it gets crushed in open deck lists, but it didn't get. Because the deck has so many things that, in my opinion, were really not good for open deck lists. Speaking of no Sisu, if your opponent knows you have no Sisu, the whole games go completely different. Also, cards like the goofy, or also the locations, you play much more different if you know this list happening. And I thought, okay, that will be a tough day 2, but he was on the play every game, and I think I didn't see all games, and I didn't see the finals yet. I still think that this deck is probably just very, very good on the play. I think, and it's very hard to catch up because it's just a different angle of red blue. It's not this grindy. I draw tons of cards. It's like a burn deck. You can say it's a burn deck. You race really fast. I mean, still turn 3 mana is a problem for many decks, for example, or there are some other things. Turn 4 shark, we all know that. This deck can do that very consistently, and we all saw this. If shark is on the board or 2 sharks, and you just chain develop your brains and visions of it's so crazy powerful and closes out games so fast. What did you think when you saw the list? When you saw the list?
I think it's really cool. It's a really interesting and different take on red blue, and like I tend to think that towards the end of a set cycle, we're pretty deep into set 6 now, that like the opportunities for actual innovation get fewer and farther between. So to see something like this is really awesome, and like you say, it plays like a burn deck. It plays totally differently. My first thought when I saw it was, wow, green purple must be better against this than regular. Like I hope this catches on because I really don't want to play around Sisus. So I do in that respect. I really hope it catches on, but I still don't think it's like an amazing matchup, because you have to have a good line into the shark or find some answer for it. Like you say, you can just go wide and then force them to be prep their own board. That's good too. And overall, I think this build is, maybe you feel differently, but it looks way softer to like 2-drop Ursula, right? So you've got you're dependent on B preps for your sweeper. You are actually really dependent on your how far it goes. When you goofy something or Tala or something, you really want to be singing a how far I'll go that next turn, so you can get to that turn 4 shark or something, because this is first and foremost a shark deck. And I think you have some real opportunities to disrupt that with Ursula, more so than you could in other games, because with so few items, Hiram is a lower priority. Normally, it was kind of irrelevant what you took with Ursula on in a lot of scenarios, because on turn 3 they would draw 2 more with, so if you ran out an Ursula early, for example, to try and disrupt them a bit, like maybe turn 2, definitely not the correct play in most scenarios against red blue. But if you did that, it doesn't matter what you take, because they'll draw 2 more with their Hiram on turn 3 and then another 2 on turn 4, and whatever, they could have any number of impactful songs again after that. But here, the chance of that happening is lower. There are a lot more 4s that they're playing on 3, like Goofy and Tala, that when they do that, they like definitely want to sing at how far I'll go, right? Like that's the aim. It's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could disrupt that, you actually have a window to slow them down a little bit. Yeah, like I say, not having those Sisus means that B prep is the only sweep option. Yeah, I think it's maybe benefited from the fact that there are so few small Ursulas around. Like Green Steel has really low representation at the moment. Green Purple representation has dropped off a fair bit versus the beginning of the set. So it looks like something that was an amazing call into the environment, but I think it's definitely something we can adapt to, and I see it more as an opportunity for Green Purple now. If people do decide that this is the version they want to lock in on, DKP may feel like Ed did about Continentals, that this was just like a call for the tournament. I
Mm-hmm.
would be interested to know if he sees this as like his new stock, or was this like you surprise people, take completely innovative build, come out of nowhere, sweep the tournament, and that's it. Hang it back up, go back to traditional. Yeah, I'd be interested to know how he feels about it.
This deck does some annoying things. For example, if you have a shark and then you play a mana, that's really really bad for your opponent, because he wants to get rid
That's
of
cool.
the location, but then they have exerted characters, so it gets very tricky. So yeah, it's a very powerful deck, and DKP, it's a crazy good player still. It's crazy how consistent he tops tournaments.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do always really appreciate a cooled shot. I don't mind where it comes from. I love a cooled shot. When someone openly is like, I'm winning this tournament, and then they win it. I was like, fair play. Fair play to you. If you come out like if you can bring that level of confidence and then back it up, like that is, I'm always impressed by that.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I could never be that confident. But yeah, it can be done.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm curious how the Red Blue world shifts, and if they stick on it. I don't know how the mirror is. It should be still pretty close. I mean, the mirror against the traditional red blue
Yeah.
decks, I think it's still a bit. It's pretty even, because the traditional red blue has a lot of shark hunters, of course, obviously, and yeah, I'm curious, but still, the traditional red blue could have some problems sometimes against the mana, for example, or just against this crazy amount of burn that this deck has.
Yeah,
And
especially if they were like some of these builds, have kind of given up on Mauis, or cut down their number of Mauis, that sort of thing. You immediately punish that with more manas, that sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it could be.
yeah,
This must feel really good to the mirrors.
yeah, probably, yeah. Nice. So that's for that. I just wanted to ask you first. Do you have any decks that you have new, or find a new? Because I have something in mind that is, I think, probably benefiting of the meta shifts that happening right now, and I want to ask you the same first. If you have also a deck that you feel really confident with, and you spoiled it a bit, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see what you've got now. But yeah, so decided on Friday before my set championships this Saturday to just throw together an amber steel pile that I'm sure you can see now. That basically my whole idea was I want to be Cindy Storming on turn 1. I want to just be playing as many things as possible that enable me to just Rapunzel trap people. So that's where those Moanas come in. And I'm literally just looking to control the board super early with a 1-drop Cindy and stuff like Calhoun, and then just keep slamming big things. Try to follow some of the logic that those blue steel curve decks have been following and doing well with, but apply it to amber steel because I desperately want to play Cindy Storm in my deck. So the end result is something that looks really similar to like a Diggy Diggy deck, but then just has like a load of top end threats. Because I built this with cards I own on Friday, there is a ton of stuff missing that I ordered that night in case I wanted to explore this further. But obviously, cards do not get overnighted to your house. So I was missing things like the 3-drop John Silver that stops challenging. A few other notable things like the 5-drop Gantu, the Quest for 4 was also a consideration. But I ended up getting finishing in the top 4 of my set championships with this, and it did exactly what I wanted it to do. The Robin Hoods felt really weak, but going into that environment, that, as I say, was like really heavy on early interaction, steel decks, everyone just sort of curving out, and then a small smattering of red-blue. I felt like I could go fast enough to beat a lot of these red-blue decks. I felt like I basically just always hit a Lawrence or Moana on turn 3, and used my aggressive 1 and 2 drops to create situations where they couldn't not trade, and then I'm all like loads of the time getting a draw 3 off Rapunzel on turn 4. And at set championships, like that is enough to win a lot of games, and that's kind of the way it went. So the list you see here is really, really imperfect. It's just it sort of looks like a Steel Faster deck without Mufasas. And I ended up losing in the top 4 to Steel Faster because they played a Tempo and I couldn't kill it. I had like no way of killing Tempo.
That's a problem, yeah.
Yeah, that's an issue. So I take this list as a proof of concept that these kind of big amber steel well, it's not even big really, it's just aggressive curve out and then some more top end. It's like Diggy Diggy, except you don't play mines and happies, you just get to play more things that quest for 2 and or draw cards, which I think is a perfectly valid way to play, and I've just continued developing that this week. I've landed on a build I really like that's quite different. Quite different to this one. I mean, it's probably pushing towards more of what the other people are playing. But yeah, for now, I'm excited by that. I've been having a lot of success in my testing games. I don't know if it's like a perfect call into a into the wider
The only
meta.
thing I was curious was the Lilos I miss a bit.
Yeah, I also didn't own those.
There we have the explanation.
Yeah,
because they help a lot. In my experience, they help a lot against red blue and red purple often, and yeah, are really good. But yeah. But Piglet do a similar thing, I think. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, and a lot of the time, Piglet did actually do some pretty heavy work. But this, if you take anything away from looking at this list that I played at my set championships last week, it's like at some point around the end of set 3, my attitude towards this game shifted from I'll just get staples to I will buy green purple foils, and that's all I bought. I just bought foils of cards that go in green purple, and then when I got a feeling I could probably play, I've got Cinderellas, I've got Daisies, I could probably play a deck like this, right? And turns out I'm missing half the stuff. But yeah, I take it as an experiment, as a proof of concept. I will play it again next weekend with a version of this that I just take a little further and hopefully have all the cards I actually want. And I really think it can do some good work at like a set championship level. But it's just been fun exploring a new deck as well. Like it's just been a while since I
if I send you if I send you Lilos now, you can have them on Friday. So tell me if I should send them. Or did you order them?
Yeah, I do have money for Lilos. I'm not. I'm not. I don't have cards, but I'm not broke, so it's okay. I can source I can source the Lilos. But that's a very generous offer. Yeah, it's just been fun to mess around with something completely different, and the pressure to be off a little bit, because the other thing that's going on is, this set cycle is really, it's been dragging on for a while. I'm not having as much fun as I have had in the past, just because I need fresh stuff to brew with. So I've just kind of tried to push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit and just play some different stuff and try to maintain good fundamentals in the game rather than just becoming a good green purple player. So yeah, that part of it's been fun. But I want to know what you think lines up really well into this new metagame. Please tell
first,
me.
Lastly, I want to say I like your name. I want to say that.
Oh, okay.
It's a Haufen. For those who know, for those who don't know, it's an insider. And our Haufen is German and means pile. Not pile. It means a very unsorted pile. You can say. It's a Haufen. You can say it's a Haufen. And we usually name decks a Haufen that are not very. How can you say? Not very sorted, or have a lot of 1 or 2 offs or something. So maybe we can take that out in the community, that we from now on call decks a Haufen that we think are a Haufen. We all know now what a Haufen is, and
and this definitely is one.
No, I think this is, for example, this is not a real Haufen. You play a lot of.
Well, it has too many 4-offs.
Yeah, it has too many 4-offs. I miss a 1-off Big Cindy. I miss I miss a 1-off Mufasa. I miss a 1-off. I don't know. A 1-off. What can we do? What can we have here? I don't know.
Have a Tempo.
Tinkerbell 1-off. Such cards.
Yeah, I'll do better next week. I'll bring you a real pile. I promise. That's my promise to you. This is going to be a real pile.
A real half.
Yeah.
For me, it's a bit weird because I'm on a very big tournament in the weekend in Vienna. The Vienna Enchanted Tour, which was last year too, and I'm competing there. It's usually very big. And I really don't know what I will bring there. So if you face me, the only thing that there are goats probably in it, but not because I can't win with other cards. But the color combination I play is really not sure in my mind. And I'm struggling now between I think it's just cool to talk about the meta, because I think it shifts in a very different way where other decks could be viable. And I think, for example, green purple will be better now. I think I also think red purple should be fine against this new shark version, but I actually don't know. I have to test that. And I think Blurple is a very good deck, and I tell you why. Because Blurple has, first of all, a lot of shark answers and a lot of unconditional shark answers. By that I mean red purple has weird shark answers sometimes. They have Tremaine, which is not always the right answer, so they rely on B-Prep often. But Blurple has Hades and has Let It Go, which is just punishing. It's also a curve out deck. It's a fast deck. You could say you can play very aggressive with this deck, of course, because you ramp and play a turn 3 Genie and such cards. Yeah, and I think any purple deck that has good shark answers is very, very hard for them to deal with. Very hard. Because they rely so much on the shark. Because the meta seems to be in a way that, and that's what I predicted at the start of the set. That has not many shark answers. Because at the start of the set, everyone said, "Oh, the shark, if he gets answered, tell me, please, good shark answers." outside of zoos or such cards that are especially on turn 4. That's absolutely disgusting. And there are no good shark answers. And even if there are decent shark answers, the opponent still needs to have them or you run away with the game. And that's what I predicted with the shark, and it's actually happening. So
You're so clever.
Yeah, I'm so clever. No, but Blurple has this Hades and Let It Go, what I think is very, very reliable. Also, Big Elsa is a good shark answer too, because you need only to freeze it one turn. That's enough. And Blurple is very good into other purple decks. What are the other side of the format? Blurple is actually fine into Diggy Diggy Hole. The only thing that I really think Blurple is really bad into is traditional Steel Song.
Yes.
Because the problem is just they have no interaction with the opponent plays a turn 1 Cindy. And then you see on the artwork of the Cindy, she's burning on a cigarette, taking out the gun, and waiting for you to burn the cigarette, taking the gun and waiting for you to play characters. That's the problem with the traditional season. The Diggy Diggy Hole is a bit more tricky because you play turn 3 genies, and that's also annoying for them. And if you can reach an Elsa, then it's really strong against them. So shifting an Elsa, for example, is very strong. So traditional Steel Song is the problem. But then I think, who in the world, if you see this meta of red blue crushing everything, will play traditional Steel Song right now? I mean, you must not like yourself that much.
Well, I can tell you, they all live near me.
Yeah, but I think it's still probably, if you're an embassy player, you still feel kind of okay on the play. Probably against red blue, you can run away sometimes quite consistently. I think when you play Lilos and Piglets and Daisies and such cards, still you are just an aggro deck, you can say. You have to play it probably a bit aggressive, and that's the way. Also, you have Pete and such cards. So yeah, it's tricky, but also benefits a lot of less Sisus. So I think Blurple is actually it was always strong against purple steel and green purple, and red purple was also kind of okayish. So I think if you see the overall matchup spread, Blurple is a really good call, and I'm not sure how I will decide, because I really would like to make a good run in the weekend, and I think all 3 decks are for me right now. I never had, for a long time, I had not such a situation that I had 3 decks that I could bring, and I don't know which I will bring. So I'm very curious, and maybe you tell me now what I should bring.
I was just going to say it's a tight call for you, because I think the reasons you've put forward for Blurple all make a lot of sense, and I completely agree with this sentiment that, like, right now you want to be playing a deck that naturally has shark answers. What is one of the things that made green purple go down in my books was, like, any answer we had to shark was a card we would rather actually not play. So decks that get to play cards which are unconditional shark answers and they actually want them anyway, like Blurple wants Hades, Let It Go, Big Elsa. All these are key parts of the game plan. They're not changing themselves to do it. That's where you want to be, right? Something that can answer a shark easily without affecting any of its deck building or its other matchups at all. So it makes perfect sense. But you're coming off a bit of a hot run with red purple, and you're obviously piloting it well. You've got a real difficult choice on your hands. You've got good recent experience of red purple. A metagame that looks like it's shifting back towards green purple being a good option, and a third rogue option that could be good also. So I have no answer for you. Just good luck. Maybe roll a dice or something.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. That helps me a
Yeah,
lot.
I'm happy to help. Always happy to help.
No, I think just that red purple is probably way better in set championships than in a very high competitive field, because I think it's still a very fair deck. It's still the most fair deck of any decks that are on top. Yeah, on top tier, you could say. It does. It's the deck. This the only deck probably that doesn't unfair things. If you, I don't think red purple does anything unfair outside of rabbit bouncing or something, but that does any purple deck. But I can really feel the experience. I really feel sorry for Neumnot, for example, because he's an absolutely great player, and still nobody doubts that he's one of the best red purple players in the world. But he had not a very good run in the Australian DLC, and I feel very bad for him. And he said to me that he is not too high on it because you have just a fair shot to lose against everything. You could say many decks can run away, and so what he did is actually played on day 2 Dogpile, Diggy Hole, and I think he had a crazy good run. We went in the revival event, he came 3rd or something. So maybe red purple is just not the call in the big tournament. But then we get proved again by 2 people that win continentals, so that's always it's probably stupid to call red purple out.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because I mean, like you say, it's something that can completely. When you play something really fair, you're kind of opening the door to accepting if your opponent runs red hot, there might be very little you could actually do about that. So really, it's a case of you've got to pick. Would you rather, like, are you betting on your opponents to not run red hot, or are you betting on yourself to run red hot? And I don't know. I don't think either choice is. You could look at it from either direction and like think, well, something that has a like very strong linear opening, you could play that and just back yourself to be the one doing the right thing in the right order. Most importantly, going first. But it's really tough. I in that situation, I have to be on the proactive side because I just with my mindset and everything, I can't. I really don't like watching these games where I can do nothing. And it's just like I'm behind. I'll never catch up. Like I think in my first set championship, I played Purple Steel, and it was still a dock pile, but it was a pretty fair dock pile. And I sort of lose my dice roll. My opponent's on Steel Song, turn 1 Cindy. Right, okay. I guess I'll play something or play nothing. Whether it's on turn 1 or turn 2, whenever it was that I first played something, first thing gets Storm, second thing gets Strength. They got 3 things on board. I'm playing no sweepers. Cool. Like next turn I could play a 1-drop and fox it to take out something, and you're just behind forever. So things like that just sort of tilt me too much. I have to go towards the proactive side. But you can't ever count red purple out. But I think it's just it does have a chance to randomly lose quite a lot of games, and that's a tough one. I was also very sorry to see. You never want to see Kendall playing anything other than red purple, do you? When I saw that post that he'd played Amber Steel, I just thought, I feel you. I know exactly where you're coming from, and I know why and how this has happened. But I just you don't want to see your heroes going down that path. But
and it's still sometimes you just have not good luck or something. And it's not a deck issue or something. Sometimes you maybe they play just on the plays turn 4 GD, turn 5 GD. That's sometimes enough, and then it's that stupid games you lose on the draw. Was best of 2 still, and so it's hard. So let's see. I will see what I will bring. But sorry, guys, I won't show you a deck list right now because we will face in Vienna, and then you will know everything I play. So I think that the more stock lists from Blurple are pointed out. I recommend watching JDRR's content for Blurple, for example, because he's the Blurple mastermind, and one of his lists is not too far away. That's what I would play right now, and I will test a lot this week and see what I will come up with on Saturday.
Nice. I'm excited to see what you land on, but I hope you have fun. It should be a good tournament.
Last time I know that was set 2. I was playing red purple, and I played it with Arthur and LeFou and such stuff. I played it a bit more aggressive, and still with B prep and such cards, but so a bit more aggressive for the mirror with Arthur and LeFou, and I got 4 blue steals, and blue steel was the only really bad matchup for red purple in that meta, and I got crushed. So, but this time not. Yeah.
Oh, and if you play against Lucas Carper, I think he's local to. I think he is local to Vienna. You have to win because he beat me in the top 16.
I will tell him. We will have war now.
It was a pretty decisive win for him as well. It was pretty brutal rolling. So he probably doesn't remember much about it. It must have been a very high pressure day. In his memory, it's probably a small fragment of, oh yeah, that first round I sat down. That was a pretty easy win.
Nah, I don't think you do know. I know the first game. I think you do know rabbits both games. I don't know. You do really bad too. I think.
I just played too aggressively, so it was my own decisions as well. Still, if you get paired up, then take some revenge for the cast.
Yeah,
I
do it. Okay. Is there anything you want to talk about? Do we want to wrap it up?
No, I think it's a good time to wrap up. Like you say, it's not been a particularly busy week. Hopefully we have some spoilers to talk about next week because that's where we both shine.
Yeah, that's where we shine, and that's where we are.
We are
both
ideas
wrong.
people. Nice.
But I think next week is the 10th. February, so I think they said something like 10th February there will be the first spoilers for next set. So I'm so excited. I was never more excited for a set like this. The Duel Link cards open so much windows for so cool stuff. It's so cool.
It's the same for me, and it's completely speculative as well. There's no reason why. I think that as a mechanic, obviously we know that Duel Link stuff, more Duel Link stuff, is coming. But beyond that, we have no way of telling if they'll be good or not. But I'm still way more excited for this than I've been for previous sets.
I hope they will be powerful. I hope a lot of things will be powerful of the Duel Link stuff.
I just want to see a shake-up of just a few things that just help to bring some real change to the metagame for a while. I think would be really, really good.
Especially for decks or for color combinations, that would be really cool. For color combinations that are usually not playable, would be really cool if they get such a strong. If they manage to balance it, that they got such a strong card that they could be playable, and other stuff got less powerful things, so they are less playable, like this red blue stuff, which is not very good till now. So, for example, red steel has a problem with card draw as always. Red steel has a problem with card draw. If they get a powerful pirate when you play this character, for each pirate you draw a card or something. That would be really, really cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we see some more stuff like that. Just something that gets you brewing and can come up with some cool new decks for the start of next set. And it's always nice to just be able to have a hopeful looking towards the future. Because I think right now, just with at the end of a long set cycle, and it's just a bit like everyone's waiting for news on new cards, on worlds, on this year's DLC stuff, and sort of trapped in a bit of a treadmill, just waiting for things to change. So yeah, hopefully things just start to get a bit fresher soon, and we all have some stuff to look forward to. But we keep the dream alive until then.
Yes. Okay, then thanks everyone for watching, and thanks everyone for supporting us, and for always writing comments. And we are always happy about comments. Thank you very much for that. And have a good week, and till next week, and bye bye.
Bye bye.